Okay, cool. So these are my notes, and I can always print this or email this to you. But there's 8 pages worth of information here. As I was like, usually when I get hands, it's like, okay, you get a lot of stuff in your hands.
Really?
Yeah, you do. So get your left hand and then we got your right hand. So the first thing let me talk about is kind of the different aspects I'm going to be talking about. So we know your hand shape and your lines, that's your personality psychology, and that's somewhat changeable. Like I've seen people's hand shape actually change more from one to another.
Well, I would think so. Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. And then you also have the lines. I've seen people get gift markers. I've seen gift markers disappear. I've seen like headlines and lifelines change over the years. So those are changeable. And then you got the soul psychology, which is in the fingerprints, and that is unchanging. And that's here 5 months prior to birth.
Oh,
so that's your soul's agenda. And that's what makes hand analysis different from palmistry. Palmistry is going to be more predictive, like how many kids are going to have.
Right.
And, whereas this is scientific, it's not going to say that like you have this in your life or doing this. It says you are wired to be this way though.
Yeah.
So it's like your blueprint. And once you have this information, it's like you can use this, you can kind of, and I wrote this thing out here that you can kind of look at, but this is like, once you're more conscious of these things and these elements in your hands, the more you can kind of be a conscious driver of your life, and you can kind of proceed your life with intention instead of just kind of getting thrown about by the waves of life, right? You're kind of more aware of, oh, I see how this has been in me since I was a kid. I've seen this aspect of me play out in the past. And then, kind of being able to build your life around those things. Okay. And then, after a reading, what are you going to do? This is just the next step. What you can do is just to start track these things. So
what was that thought? Yeah.
Yeah. So once you're aware of it, you can start tracking it rather than like, oh, that's why I am the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, let's start with the right hand. So this is just kind of like the overall fingerprints that you have. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the hand shape that you have. So your right hand and your left hand are actually kind of very different. No, they're actually 2 different hands.
Really?
And so when we look at the hand shape, it's kind of like the outline of the person. How is this person kind of like, what's their temperament? What are the kind of overall personality traits? And with the right hand, there's a lot of fire. So I see lots of this like Zorro lines in it, this very fiery. And then you have kind of like this squarish palm and kind of short fingers. Whereas this hand is this is more long and this is more air and fire. So it's a different hand shape. So this is actually the worker bee hand. So you guys are kind of meant to have pride in your work. You guys are like the workaholics out of all the hand groups.
Yeah,
I
am a workaholic.
Okay.
It's terrible. It really is,
You're right. And so right hand's more of the hand that you put out in the world. That's the you that's kind of more people know about. The left hand is more of the inner world. So yeah, honoring your work is really important. Doing something, you don't like to sit back and think. You guys are the people that like to be very active, have a tangible, measurable result. And there needs to be like, you need to be building something, so I think of, it could be, I wrote these things like sculptor, potter, hands-on jewelry maker, police officer, working at the gym, fisherman, landscaper, firefighter, anything where you kind of get to work with your hands, kind of, and they need to be happy at work, right? They need to be able to stand behind their work and be like, yeah, I created that. I did this. I built this, this sculpture. I cooked this meal. I built 3 feet of fence.
So there's an artist in me, huh?
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. There's more to that, where that came from. We'll get into that more. The tricky part is like with retirement, is retirement a time where you can actually do the things that you really want to do? And so, advanced worker bees have some sort of job that's worthy of their dedication. They're able to kind of put their heart and soul into their work. They really need to stand behind their work And that's what they're kind of living for, right? It's like their work
I'm
is what
trying
they
so
live
hard
for.
to get away from that.
Yeah. Oh, there's other things. So remember, the hands are, it's different from
Yeah.
astrology, where it's going to be a laundry list of things.
Yeah.
But it's going to be, we're going to triangulate the things together. So once I add another element, we're going to kind of incorporate them, how they kind of work together.
I'm so trying to get over the worker bee though.
Right.
It's so ingrained in me. It's just it's sad.
Right. Yeah. And so you'll kind of notice you have these X's under your heart line.
Okay.
And so whenever I see that, it has to do with issues of support. So are you not being supported enough? Are you getting the help that you need? And the thing to ask,
self-sufficient at this point.
Okay. So self-sufficient, and with a worker bee, it's also, based on your thumb. So if you shake out your hands and hold your hands up. Yeah. So your thumbs, when I see thumbs like this would be more like, I'm going to do my own thing by myself. Usually when I see thumbs out like this, it's more like team player, CEO, if your thumbs are way out here, so there.
No, I don't want to be a CEO. I'm just as happy.
Right.
I'm just about ready to do, I'm 70. And I'm just finishing my real estate thing.
Oh, wow.
And I'm going into real estate. And it's like, how much, because of the worker bee, I'm like going, how can I make money yet not work that hard? And so, it's such a fine balance.
Right.
But my tendency is to be the workaholic. Knowing myself. So it's kind of like, Christ.
Yeah, this is the archetype. This is like the textbook, hand shape of the workaholic.
I know.
Right. So
I live to work. It's
so
terrible.
But the thing is, how do you integrate your opposite? So you are wired to be this worker bee, but how can you incorporate more fun, more relaxation, relationships?
Oh yeah.
Right. So that's, always trying to incorporate the opposite. So water and air. Now you do have air on this hand, right? This is kind of more of the loyal soldier, we call this. The illuminator, air and fire, my bad. And so you have a lot of the fiery lines, but the longer hand shape, and it's more kind of like a shoebox. So, a lot of illuminator hand shapes are kind of very great strategic thinkers. They're very funny. They have like a lot of ideas. They're kind of like the jokester.
There's a comedian.
Yes.
There is. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Right.
I keep trying to have this one man act. I'm working on. So I agree.
Yeah. And so another thing with the illuminator hand shape is that they tend to be really big into self-development. So they probably have a lot of like books on self-development, spirituality, and stuff like that, stuff to kind of make them.
Don't have shit.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay. So maybe
when I was younger, but now it's like,
right. Okay. So more of the jokesters coming out here then.
Yeah.
So more of the hot ideas, and being the brainstormer like that.
It's horrible. I am so, I'm so strategically motivated that I can look at a problem and see 20 feet, a month out, I can see potential problems, and it drives me crazy. It's just by nature. I know how that get,
right.
So that's interesting. You're kind of
Yeah. So you have the elements of earth, air, and fire. So the watery element, so that's the part that I'm wondering, how are you incorporating the watery element? The water is more of the intuition, the imagination, and then the dreamy part, the more ethereal, emotional part. So just like, how do you incorporate your opposite? That's a question, a self-reflection.
That's a good question.
Yeah. But you do have this part of the hand. This is the Venus part of the hand. And there's a lot of activity. So this is the Mars area. I was really kind of impressed, just like the lines that you have in the Mars area and the Venus area. Usually on a hand, the Venus, even on this hand, it's kind of big. So, the Venus area of the hand is all about, beauty, sensuality, they say, enjoying the finer things, enjoying, how do you enjoy life through your senses? Maybe, eating gourmet food, or
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
I have my
right, very Venusian. I
yeah,
think of like, in astrology, think of the Libra, so the person that likes to be surrounded by really nice things,
yeah,
aesthetically,
yeah.
they like to wear clothing that's
I'm very
maybe,
aesthetic. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I have a fine taste for that. Yeah,
Mm.
it's terrible.
Yeah, no. So remember, there's always a good news. So that the bad news is if it's overindulgence. It's
Yeah.
like a lot of the excess. It can show up also as the wounded child too, if it's just like, when you see like sexual trauma in people and they tend to over sexualize things.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
could also be a possibility. But so, always looking at the boundaries of indulgence, fine foods, fine wines, fine cigars, vacations, just enjoying being around friends, having this nurturing energy, this zest for life and this charm, right? Enjoying the finer things in life. This is definitely a person that would indulge in nice things.
Even when I was younger, my girlfriends laugh at me because where they would do I owned wedding chapels for years, okay? And when I first started out, I did everything. I was the minister, I was the notary, I was the photographer. I would, go rent the furniture and put it out and the whole 9 yards. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this is wearing me out,
Right.
I'll just charge more and hire somebody to do it. So, that's kind of, and my girlfriends would laugh because I'll pay you to do it more than me to. Right. But I'm laughing, they're tired and I'm laughing. Right. So, that's the difference.
Yeah, and enjoying being around friends and family. Working as in weddings makes total sense. That's like where everything's really big, right? It's over, you display everything, everyone's dressed up, there's fancy food, there's music. So that makes total sense right there. Okay, so let's get into the fingerprints. So your combination of loops and tenon arches. Loops, so we're talking about the theme. So we're gonna go into soul psychology. So this is like the theme of your life.
Okay.
Now everyone's in a different school. So you have 4 different schools, and then you have what's less common is when someone's in 2 schools or more schools. So you're actually in 2 schools. You're in School of Love and School of Wisdom. So this all has to do with emotional risk. So that means
which I'm not willing to take.
Because that's the watery element, emotional risk. And that's going to lead to wisdom of the heart. So if we look at School of Love, love is all about being able to express yourself in the moment, and looking at where you're able to express yourself, even the emotions that are not, it's one thing when you tell your spouse like, oh, I'm sad because a family member died, but can you tell your spouse that you feel jealous, without over, dumping on your partner? So it's
I've been there. I understand totally.
Yeah.
I've come so far, in the last, I would say 10 years, I've really gained a lot, in kind of being able to look at things, in perspective, instead of,
Right. And I should also mention, everything's connected in the hand. So when we focus on the stuff that's life lesson stuff, so life purpose is kind of what you are really developed at. You came here, you exceeded this. Life lesson is something you came here to really develop and work on. So it might be like a weak link in your team of players, if you think about
my
that.
Emotional would probably, like I've never been married. I don't have any kids. At 70-year-old, I haven't had a boyfriend so long, it's ridiculous. I don't even want a boyfriend. It's that, and that's probably where my handicap and my emotional would be.
Okay. Well, this thing does play out in the hand. There is something where with relationships, people can kind of overindulge in their relationships, and then it kind of becomes this codependency kind of thing.
Exactly.
But there's also the spiritual bypassing element where it's like, oh, I don't want to get in relationships because I don't want to feel. I don't want to risk getting my heart broken.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a protection there. Yeah.
Right.
But again, I'm 70.
Right.
I mean, come on, there's not a lot of guys around. I mean, I'm sorry, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
right.
And if they do, they probably have a lot of problems. I'll listen to you, but I'm only going to listen so far, and then it's like, hey, do something. So
Right. Yeah. So it's about emotional risk, and this is going to be at the center of your life. Are you able to kind of express yourself in the moment and also be vulnerable? It really comes down to being vulnerable, being able to express yourself appropriately in the moment rather than waiting. Or what happens with School of Wisdom is they tend to intellectualize it.
Oh, I do too much. Too much, I know that's my problem. But you know what? In all honesty, I'm not meeting anybody either. That's even turning on the possibility. So it's not even, it would be a different thing on an emotional level if people were coming in my life and I was rejecting them. I'm not even meeting them. Okay. So,
Yeah. And also, if you have a pet or something like that, that's opening up your heart, right? That's being vulnerable.
I have my girlfriend's dogs and stuff. In fact, I just babysitted one of my girlfriend's dogs for a week.
Okay. Yeah, because there is emotional connection is going to be an important factor in how your life purpose and your life lesson kind of
I'm 70 years old. At this point in time, if I've got another 5-10 years, I'll feel lucky.
Right.
Okay. No, really, honestly. I mean, I'm happy where I'm at right now.
Right.
And I pray that I stay this way for at least another 10 years. So
yeah. Okay. So just being able to so with School of Wisdom, it's like the biggest thing I hear from School of Wisdom people is that they're really good observers, but they'll sometimes say like, oh, I observed what's happening in the world, but I didn't really participate. And so making sure that you are an active participant in your life, that you are diving, we call it, we use the diving off diving board.
Yeah, I dive in.
Okay.
I've wound up with egg on my face, I've fallen, I fall, I get back up, it is what it is, so
Okay, cool. All right, let's talk about your I actually want to jump to your life purpose. Okay, so this is an interesting thing because on the right hand you have a composite whorl, so in the moon area. So the moon is all about the part so the thumb is all about doing, right? So thumb cannot reach over to the moon side of the hand.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we call this is the moon area of the hand. This is the intuition. Okay, it's still recording.
Yeah. Be like me and my map this morning.
Right.
I mean, that was so weird.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's talk about, we have the composite here, and then also your life purpose is in your left thumb. So left thumb is all about master of family or community. So this is where, being part of a family-minded group, being part of a community, a tribe, a band of coworkers, and this could be blood family, this could be your chosen family, this could be this is going to be the most important thing, is having this kind of community consciousness. And knowing how to be a part of the community without selling out.
Yeah.
And also without being the lone wolf, like not having to
participate.
Yeah. Or just like, oh, I can't, I haven't found my chosen family, so I'm just going to do my own thing. You're going to be happiest when you're kind of operating with this sort of group, family, community oriented thing. So this could mean like a school teacher, a coach for a team, community spokesperson, where you start your own community or you be part of an existing community. This would mean, you know, having a group of people. It could be, you know, where you become a parent, step parent. But it's basically where you know how to maintain this connection with these groups of people through good and bad, through thick and thin. And the group is naturally a supportive, caring environment for you.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. Some people get in your life and you can't get out. You
Uh-huh.
can't get rid of them. You, know? You
Right.
can't. I mean, really, honestly.
Right.
You know, I had one of my girlfriends. I mean, she went out and we had lost touch, and she
Uh-huh.
went. She moved mountains to find me. It was like, damn, you know. So yeah, it was, you know, yeah.
Oh, okay,
It
okay.
impressed me.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of the obstacles with this life purpose are going to be, you know, starting off in an abusive family, dysfunctional family or community, or picking the wrong family or community later on in life.
Yeah.
You know, where you have to kind of sell out, or getting to, you know, trying to do too much to get the community to like you, staying the lone wolf to avoid hassles. That's when you kind of isolate yourself. And then another thing is has to do with self-care. This life purpose has to do with self-care. But the success is not so much the individual success, it's a success of the group that really matters.
Yeah.
So the team.
Yeah, the team. Yeah.
Yes, the tribe. Exactly.
It's who you know. Sometimes not what you know, it's who you know.
Yes, yes. Okay. And then, you know, your chosen circle, they know who the real you is. And you look forward to family gatherings and all that types of stuff. That's going to be like signs that you are, you know, this life purpose is blossoming and you feel supported by the communities.
Yeah.
But also the family and team obligations don't control your life, and you also get your alone time.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So there's always a balance with that. And, you know, sometimes the obstacles that happen with family community, like if there's a breakdown, it could sometimes lead to an appropriate breakthrough in that, you know, in that way. Okay. So now let's talk about the composites. So the composites are a very interesting thing because they turn on and off. Okay, so depending on how your life lesson and your work on your life lesson, they can kind of create more havoc, or they can kind of they turn on or off. So the name for this life purpose is Rabbi Owns a Ranch. Okay, this is 2 people per 1,000 that have this marker. So it's kind of not super common.
Okay, so it's called what?
Rabbi Owns a Ranch. Okay, so it is about bringing out the spiritual leader, the spiritual teacher in you, but in a 3D world way. Okay, because you have these, you know, you have the worker bee hand, the jokester, the illuminator hand shape. So it's about because spirituality, you're not supposed to have money, you're not supposed to have material wealth, but in this lifetime you are. You're meant to indulge in the spiritual material world and weave in the spirituality.
I just want to be so comfortable that my pockets bless others. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of spiritual taboo around like, oh, if I make money, you know, a lot of monks will try to isolate themselves, not own anything, but no, you're meant to be very taken care of. Money wise,
actually things been pretty good.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, could be better, but you know, it's I'm not, you know, right? I keep asking God for $1 million, and you know, I mean, you know, I'm sure it's somewhere. I just haven't found it yet. So you know, it's kind of one of those things,
right?
You know?
So
it's going to be a joke, you know,
right? So using the worker bee, using the jokester part of you, and being able to put out the spiritual teacher, the spiritual leader that you are in the world. But what I want to point out is you have a very, very defined line of clairvoyance right here. So you have it on your right hand and you have it on your left hand. I have not seen a line of clairvoyance that defined.
Really?
Yeah, and usually people only have one. But the fact that you have 2, you're meant to be a psychological growth consultant. You know, you have intuition that's really strong. You know, the world is God's message board for you. And this is a gift marker. So yeah,
Yeah,
this
I
is,
treated it as a gift. I mean, you know,
yeah, you,
isn't it funny? Because some things I just know. Like today when
yes.
the map was messing up and I'm seeing the two and I'm going, no, this is just not right. You know, I just knew I went, I can make it, you know. So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's interesting. So
Right.
I have two of them, huh?
This is a gift marker. So remember, this is not everyone. And when you have lots of gifts in the hand, it makes it very specific for where you're going to get meaning and fulfillment in your life. So this means that you have to really step into and embody the life teacher, the meanings expert, and you have to really believe in yourself. That's the obstacle that a lot of people have to overcome when they have this gift marker, because our world is so, we kind of focus more on the 3D, the materialism. So when you're someone that can kind of see what's happening through all the stuff that's happening in the world, it's going to be really hard, right? So you have to really believe and trust your intuition, trust your clairvoyance, trust your instinctual side, that you know the answers.
I've just come into this in the last 10 years that I
okay.
really feel, yeah. I'm there,
Okay.
because I do trust, you know, I have a strong, you know, strong guidance, you know, inner guidance there. That's why
Yeah.
I'm joking about the real estate. I don't know why, you know, it's so weird, you know. So
It kind of seems like it
but,
plays in the,
but I'm a believer that things happen to take you where. Yeah, like, you know, so you have to go with the flow. So something, you know, the doors kept opening up, leading me to it. So I'm like,
right.
okay, you know, so
Right.
we'll
So
see.
and also just working with people is going to be really important. You know, seeing results in the world. Yeah, I can see that play in. But the line of clairvoyance is undeniably there. It's very prominent in your hand. I would say it's
Yeah.
probably the most, one of the two most prominent markers in your hand.
If I could figure out where that $1 million is, I'd be real happy. You know? I know.
So yeah, remember this is away from the thumb. This marker is on the opposite side of the hand. This is all about the doing and you know the tangible, measurable results. This side of the hand is like when you surrender. This is when you kind of get out of the analyzer into the body.
Just do it.
Yes, exactly. I want to say you also have some vertical lines on your Mercury finger. And this is called Lines of Genius. But this is like gifted author, gifted speaker. And it doesn't mean that you need to get training to do this. It's already wired in you.
Oh, yeah, it's already wired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to be writing books. You need to be doing public speaking. Like this is like a natural. Age? Oh yeah, life experience, lots of life experience. You're the meaning experts, the meaning meanings expert, the life teacher. You see through all the bullshit. You see through, you know, all the underlying stuff that may be happening on the 3D materialistic world, but you're seeing underneath that. You're seeing what most other people, 99% of people don't see what you can see.
I've gotten very grounded in the last 10 years. Yeah, I've gotten very grounded. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Also, you have a very impressive, this is the Apollo finger right here, but this line right here is an Apollo line. And so this is like your life as living a creative life, but like everything you do must be creative. It must have your own stamp of this is who I am. Yeah. You know, take it or leave it.
Even when I talk, I'm very creative. You know, it's, you know, my way of communicating is very creative. Yeah, it's always has been.
Yeah. And to go with that, you know, you got the strong Mercury fingers. The strong Mercury fingers are all about quick, sharp, and clever.
Too clever.
Yeah, so you got that mercurial kind of intelligence. Again, strategic thinker. And also you can also really good business person as far as the middle person, kind of relaying messages.
Oh yeah.
And so kind of, and sometimes they won't lead on how quick, sharp, and clever they are, but they tend to be they kind of tend to be dot connectors. They can kind of see, oh, I see the pattern here, metaphorically, they can connect dots really well.
Oh, it's terrible. Really, I'm not really honestly. Drives me crazy. And but sometimes I over get worried too. Like I had a legal case I've just been working on, and the guy was playing games with us, and he said that he didn't want to pay us, and he's been avoiding me for the last 2 years. And I'm like a dog with a bone, and I hired a really good attorney that I'm real pleased with, but he can only do so much. And so the guy set up a shell company before signing the agreement. We finally got him to settle, and he set up a shell company. And I'm like, get him to fucking sign, because I can see down the road, if we wait too long, we're screwed.
Someone strong Mercury.
I'm really good at that. That's part of my problem. Because I can see down the, and it's like,
But also, so you have a very strong Jupiter finger. Jupiter is all about power. So it's high set as well in the hand. So needing a lot of respect. So if you don't get respect, it's going to end up in anger, right? Because it's like the boundaries are being crossed.
That was when I was younger, maybe. I don't I don't get there. I don't get too much anger anymore.
Right.
I might get pissed and not do anything, but I don't get angry anymore.
Okay, you also have strong Saturn finger and Apollo finger too, against individuality, expressing yourself. And then this is about acorns, having the financial security. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, so this kind of area was really busy. This is the Pluto zone of the hand, also on this side of the hand. So we kind of see a lot of like kind of Pluto diamonds. And this is all about radical self-transformation. Usually when I see these types of things, the people tend to have gone through like flash floods, or their house is burning down, or kind of like extreme.
I've had
things
several extreme things happen in my life.
Where it's kind of like the universe kind of ripped the rug out from underneath them. Having to start all over again. Like I knew this one couple that I read their place in Europe had burned down after they just built the whole thing, put their whole life savings into it.
It's horrible. I'm telling you, you're young. Trust me. It's kind of like, gee, thanks God. It's fascinating when your whole world gets ripped out. It's like, okay.
Right. But like the Phoenix rising from the ashes, it's like, what did that allow them to do? Well, so the couple, they ended up having to move to the USA, and they built their healing center again. And they ended up making it even bigger and reached out to more people. So it ended up.
I'm a better person, and I'm definitely more stable. I'm more cautious. But it's been very interesting. My thing has been, I'm almost like, you say I have all the strong things. My thing has been like I've been playing at things. I keep waiting. I'm a real trust in the universe telling you what to do. But sometimes it gets lost in knowing what to do.
Right. Yeah. There's also that theme. Actually, I was going to get to that.
You already see that. It is. It's been that way. It's been interesting, like you say, I've got the creativity and stuff like that. Had I grown up, had my younger years been on the coast, on the California coast, I probably would have gotten into acting more and that sort of thing. But I grew up in the deep South.
Okay. I listed one of the careers for someone with the Venus like this is actress.
But here's another thing to think about. If it was meant to be, it would have happened.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a true believer in that.
Right.
So
right. You gotta trust.
It didn't happen. So, who's to say? I mean, I could be that little old lady like you're like, where's the beef? So, you know what I mean? I'm not dead yet. So
Right,
you
right,
know,
right.
who
Yeah, you
knows,
still
you
got time.
know?
Yeah. So let's see what else we're gonna talk about. Oh, I wanted to talk about so kind of this the interesting thing was like the boxes in the hand. So see how you have
Oh,
these
okay.
boxes
Oh,
right
yeah,
here.
I have a lot of boxes.
Yeah, yeah. With fire hands, you tend to get more stuff kind of in the hand. This one also, you kind of have like
It's
these
not as deep. I
boxes.
didn't make it the impression as deep as
That's
yeah.
okay. I can still see it. I can still see it really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I
And
got lots of boxes. What does boxes mean?
so it's boxed in by circumstances. So feeling kind of paralyzed by circumstances.
Yeah, see, yeah.
This is usually a big thing when we see this in the hand. This is like, okay, stuff
Like
is
squares in astrology. You know,
closed.
your
Yes,
life
when
has
something
a
is
lot of
square. Yes. So it's a kind of a thing that's really kind of you're bumping up against resisting some sort of thing. And yeah, how and a lot of it, you know, goes back to the theme, the school is the risk, taking risks, emotional risks.
Oh yeah.
In order to kind of, otherwise, what is how are you feeling boxed in by life? What are the logistical log jams? What are the things that are kind of keeping you imprisoned, kind of stuck in
right
kind
now? I like to travel.
Okay.
I have been for the last 2 years.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, it's so funny because I bought a new car last year. Okay.
Okay.
And I've already put 27,000 miles on it in a year.
Oh wow.
I know. Okay. Because you can't fly anywhere, you know.
You gotta drive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the heart line. So you kind of have an interesting thing where you have a heart line that kind of looks like it's wanting to be what we call a Gina heart line.
What's that?
And so the Gina heart line, so if you look at the trajectory of this line, it's like curves up and then it curves out this way.
Yeah.
Right. And same thing with this
hand. It's always been that way.
Yeah. So here it's like it wants to go. If we were to follow the trajectory of the hand, it would go like that. And so this is, you know, a Donna, we call it a Donna heartline that's gone a Gina heartline that's gone Donna. And so what that means is the Gina heartline that's very curved, that's a very fiery, passionate heartline. That's like, you know, she walks in the room, everyone knows what she's feeling. And she loves this excitement, and you know, it's very more like in a relationship, me focused, so more focused on you, and very expressive. Now, because it goes out to here, and this is what I've seen a lot of people in California, they tend to have Gina heartlines that go to Donna. Donna's a sweetie pie. Donna is like, you know, taking all the wounded cats, dogs, birds, animals.
Yeah,
you know,
I got to be careful on that.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like, you know, the Donna's like the nurturing one, the big heart, sweetie pie, empathetic, good listener, you know, loves Thanksgiving dinner because it's all about connection. But the thing that Donna does not have that Gina has is that Donna is very volatile and very expressive. And in our culture, especially in California, there tends to be a lot of passive aggressive energy. Instead of people expressing what they want to express right then in the moment, they tend to kind of hold it back, right? They tend to tame their responses.
Yeah.
But you, as a fiery, as a person with this type of heart line, I would say that it's in you are wired to be more of the direct person, to be very direct.
Always with
people.
Yeah.
And so when I see something like this, where see how this branches out right here, the heart line. Sorry, you're gonna say something?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the D fork. This is kind of like sympathy date. So this doesn't mean you're doing it, but it says that you do have that potential to be wired to do this. Saying yes to things when you really want to say no.
I try to watch that. Yeah, I do. Yeah, you know, it's terrible. You know how that goes. Yeah,
So you know, if
I've been really watching it. Yeah.
And this could be anything, because this is you in relationships. So it could be intimate relationship. It also could just be, you know, personal friend relationships. family relationships too as well.
Oh yeah, anybody, sometimes it's easier just to go along with them, It's like my girlfriends when I was younger, and their mother would bitch at them, and they go, yeah, 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 and the mother would leave, and I go, are you gonna do that? And they go, oh no, yeah, you know what I mean,
right?
Yeah. So yeah.
There was a bit of chaining at the heart line. Usually when we see the little marks like this, kind of little dots, it could mean potentially like blood pressure stuff.
Yeah, high blood pressure.
High blood pressure, yeah. So that kind of shows up in the heart. I didn't notice this until now, but you have a wow marking right here. So this is kind of like all channels open. This is a very like locomotive energy, like unstoppable. Like, a lot, like a powerhouse of energy, basically. It's so interesting because the other person that I read this wow marker on, she was in her 90s and she's still painting. She's still, doing her artistic stuff.
People are, I'm amazed. I'm still, I probably feel younger now than I did when I was young. Yeah, it's kind of wild,
Yeah, no. So this is a really powerful marker. I haven't actually read it a lot on too many people. So it's definitely something that is energy. You have lots of energy, a lot of endurance, and just like a powerhouse, like a locomotive, like nothing can get in your way. So that's definitely going to be helpful for you. But yeah, so the heart line, it does have we have some dangling, some X's dangling angers. So that could be like resentment, anger towards the previous partner.
Probably. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of interesting because until you're involved emotionally with somebody, sometimes you're not even aware of the anger and the suppressed feelings.
Right. So that's how that can show up as dangling angers right there.
Yeah.
But so I think that the kind of general kind of weaving it stuff together, what we have is you have this very much this worker bee energy, this do, and then balancing that out with the more receptive surrendering side of the clairvoyance, getting in your body, using your clairvoyance, and then you also have a writer's fork too. So this is your headline. Gosh, there's so much in your hand. It's like treasure hunt in this hand. Some people, they come to me, they only have like 3 lines on their hands.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. So earth hands. Hands. Some men, they just have few lines. I think I read one guy, it was just the heart line, the lifeline, and the headline.
I have noticed with older people, a lot of times they start losing their lines.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A lot of older people, they tend, some of them get the
fingerprints. They
lose their fingerprints, or they just lose up. It's kind of weird, Yeah.
Right. I had to read one guy who he had burned 2 of his fingerprints off. So I had to just use the information of the hand. Usually the hand will kind of reinforce what it's, it will reinforce itself.
Yeah, is that weird though? Yeah, no, I have not had that problem. So.
Okay.
If anything, I've gotten more lines.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, you have plenty of lines. You do an 8-hour reading on you.
Yeah.
So this headline here, and then you have your lifeline right here, and they're very independent. So usually when I see a person's headline, that's kind of like how the brain, their intellectualizer, analyzer works. The longer the headline, the more time spent in thinking. So you have a very long headline. So it's almost what we would call a HAL 9000, which is a supercomputer brain, where it's like multitasker, do many things at once, because doing one thing is going to be too boring for you.
Yeah, I have a problem with boring.
So not only are they independent, so this means you don't really adhere to the family belief system. You're very independent thinking, versus the family. A lot of people kind of grow up, if they have their life and their headline connected, they're very stuck in the belief system. Yeah, and it's almost like their beliefs line up with how the tradition of the family.
A lot of people do.
But yours, it's very independent, very headstrong. You're your own person.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. So that's really
it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. You know?
right, because
Yeah.
your life purpose is
I
about
can stand alone.
yes, exactly.
And it's hard, you know, because people don't know what to think about that.
Right. They're like, oh, she has her own opinion about these things.
Yeah.
And, that was scary, if you were to kind of go against the grain of the community or against the grain of the family, because it meant you might be ostracized.
Yeah. It's a very, very interesting, thank God I'm in California. Okay. Oh, yeah.
Right.
We had a Black girl that went to Georgia, and I was going, keep in touch with me. Because you are so California. You are it was gonna be a trip.
Right. You also have writer's fork, so splitting at the very end of the headline. And this goes along with the lines of genius that you have. So being a writer, being a public speaker, whenever you have writer's fork, you're able to you have a gift for writing. And remember, this is how you're wired. You don't need to go to school to learn how to do this. You're already wired to do this. And same, you have two writers. So whenever you see more of this, you see the same marker on both hands, it's like doubly the amount. So even though your hands look very different, like your right hand is very much like worker bee, left hand is more of the strategic thinker, illuminator. The fact that a lot of these gift markers are repeating in both hands just makes it that much more obvious. Like, look at me, I want to be used. These gifts want to be used, right?
Writing something.
Yeah. I mean,
I'll start doing something. I've been thinking about really getting into the Facebook and stuff like that. Start doing little, tweaks and stuff like that. So.
Right. That would be good. Let's also point out on the right hand. So you have, these lines right here, this is a Jacob's ladder. And so this can show up as too much yin, not enough yang. But on this hand, you have a reverse Jacob's ladder. So it's too much yang, not enough yin, which is this really interesting push me, pull me. Is career, are you putting too much focus into career, not enough relaxation and fun and resting and surrendering, or are you doing too much resting relaxation and not enough work? There's this very big push you pull me kind of energy from the hands. So this could show up as the non-committal stuff. This is the energy of like, oh, I'll kind of put my toe in, but I'm not going to fully go for it. So
that's what that real estate goes back. But see, I've been the last 4 years, I got into really a serious car accident. A guy, some kids hit me, and it affected me, brain problems, vertical, problem. And I couldn't even fly until this year. I couldn't even go down to LA in my ears. I couldn't go up to Tahoe where I'm from. The ears hurt so bad. So I'm finally getting used to it. So I slept a lot the last 3 years,
Okay.
So, the last 3-4 years, I've slept a lot. Now in the last year's been a lot of therapy. So, I'm finally getting to the point where I can do stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
And I also,
that's
incredible. So also the Pluto diamond. So just the intense rug ripping under you, kind of like car accidents like changed your whole life, especially if
it did. Yeah. In fact, when I bought a car, I bought an SUV. It's high enough to where somebody's gonna hit me, they're gonna hit me down here, not on the head. So
that's smart.
It was so funny because when they hit me, and I knew something was bad, and it was so funny because I leaned back, I went, this is gonna hurt.
Behind you?
Yeah. These kids are being chased by cops in downtown San Francisco during rush hour traffic. And I had turned onto 2nd Avenue, and they turned the corner doing 60 miles an hour and hit me. You know what? For every bat, you got to look at the glasses half full, because they hit me right on the frame. Okay. And it was a Toyota, thank God. So they hit me more on the back end than the front end. They had to get me out the jaws of life, but they didn't, had they hit me straight at the door, it probably would have killed me.
Yeah.
But the frame held because it was a Toyota.
Okay.
So basically I hit my head really bad on the steering, on the steering wheel, because it was an older car and I didn't have a airbag.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, glad you're, okay. Yeah.
But it was interesting, definitely life-changing.
Right. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Okay, so okay, I also want to talk about the low set Mercury. So low set Mercury is about when we look at kind of like its needs, it has to do with is it getting enough of understanding and being heard and being listened to. This is a need that's going to be very important, is that the Mercury. So therapy is going to be being understood, being listened to, and making sure that it's kind of like the inner child also.
We all want to be heard.
Yeah. So also want to talk about the medical stigmata. This is another gift marker right underneath the Mercury fingers. Right. And this is just another thing that reinforces the line of clairvoyance. Gifted healer. This was seen in a lot of the medical people that not so much the doctors, but the nurses that were kind of by the bedsides of the patients. So these people were kind of more of like the therapists. They were like the caregivers and nurturing people to help other people. So this is something that's really important. And when you do see this marker, you do want to put it ahead of relationship. Like, when people put their relationship ahead of their healing career, that's when they start to have intimacy breakdown and other penalty stuff that happens. So, I should tell you, there's a penalty marking. There's a penalty if you don't use your gift markers on top of having a gift marker. So the penalty if you don't use your line of clairvoyance is that you end up, there tends to be stagnation, alienation, and disillusionment. With the medical stigmata, if you're not using this gift fully, there's going to be intimacy breakdown. Okay, so with everything, with the lines of genius, if you don't use the lines of genius, if you don't step into the author, the public speaker, you're going to go nowhere fast. Right. So the thing is just to do it. You just got to embody this, believe in yourself. And then it has to do with trust and surrender skills for the healer. Moon stars also, that's another thing. So a lot of the X's in the moon area of the hand are another flashes of intuition, right? So this is like you are wired to be someone who has a meanings expert.
I could be a tarot reader, a
tarot reader. Yeah. And make it fun because you have the jokester.
I'm only third generation American, and my background is Croatian.
Oh.
And my ancestors were the gypsies.
Oh, there you go.
So,
there you go.
Yeah. So there might be something there.
Yeah, definitely tap into that. You have a know-it-all thumb. So that kind of goes with the kind of access to ancient wisdoms and teachings that are that kind of occult practices and stuff like that. So so kind of wrapping the whole thing up, life purpose is going to be master of family and community. Okay, so group orientated stuff, being a team player, working within a group of people is going to be way more meaningful and fulfilling than if you were to just do it by yourself.
I've always liked teams. I do well with teams.
Right. You have the jokester, you have the strong Mercury fingers, so quick, sharp, clever, and using that mercurial intelligence. It's really good for marketing too, as well. Just to kind of put yourself out there as well in the world. But definitely because you got so many gift markers that revolve around line of clairvoyance and the Apollo line. So really being a creative person, this is like being on stage. This is like usually when you see line of this Apollo line, plus the line of clairvoyance, you know, we're thinking of like psychic or intuitive growth consultant, like on stage. This is kind of like a really creative expression. And so, you know, doesn't mean that you need to be doing painting or art or music, but it does mean that you need to be an individualist and a passionate individualist. You need to kind of do your own thing in every aspect of your life. This is like not conforming. And it's interesting because the group has to support you not conforming at all.
Oh, they did. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, people either love me or hate me. One or the other. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of interesting. I do bring out the passions in people. It's so weird. I don't even try. It's like, what?
Yeah. So you as the living role model, you as a lantern holder for people, is going to be really important. And then, but you as also the left hand, because you're left-handed, that's just another element of you're doing your own thing.
Yeah.
You know, individualist. So when I compile this all together, it's someone who sees through all the 3D stuff. They see through deeper realms. They're able to access their imagination, their intuition, and make their work kind of revolve, not actually, but actually do that, like really revolve around your gut instincts, your you know, whatever gut feelings that you get.
I have always been able to manage to land on my feet. I'm like a cat, you know. So yeah, it is. And I do trust my intuition.
Okay.
A lot. Yeah.
And then, you know, when the Pluto diamonds, when you have that going on, just being aware of like, this is kind of part of this radical transformation.
Yeah.
Right. That no matter if car accidents, fires, floods, hurricanes, natural disasters, or seemingly really intense, like crazy things are happening in your life, that's actually meant to be a way of propelling you forward on your path, on your spiritual journey.
It has. You know, all the bad stuff, you know, just along with the good stuff. So, so what does that moon mean? The S moon.
The moon. Oh, yeah. So that's the that is Rabbi with a ranch.
Oh, the ranch.
So remember, your life purpose is not only the, you know, master of family community, but it's also being a spiritual teacher, spiritual leader that has that's able to interact in the material world.
Yeah.
Okay. You're able to have money, you're able to own stuff and not be ashamed of it, but like be like, yeah, I have 4 Ferraris. I have you know. So the rabbi, you think of like someone who's really spiritual. It has that name because it's like a spiritual person that's not supposed to have all this stuff. But you're a spiritual person and you're meant to indulge.
Plus, I wouldn't be happy if I did. Yeah.
Right. Plus with the Venusian presence, you know, this is like very prominent in your hand. So this is indulging in the finer things in life. So you're meant to explore the 3D world, and also have the spiritual side. And, you know, because that's a delicious dilemma, right? It kind of goes against what a lot of spiritual people are about, right? It's like, oh no, money, you know, it's not about the money. And you're like, actually, it is about the money. It's about enjoying.
It's always about the money. I'm sorry, but it's always about the money. I don't care who says what.
Yeah.
It's always about the money. You know?
So you're
pigeon, you know.
So you're meant to kind of be that role model.
I will say I have met people who money's nothing. I mean, there are people like that.
Right.
It's, you know, I wasn't meant to have it. Okay, great, give it to me. I'm fine with that, you know.
Yeah.
But I have met people in my life, you know, that, you know, money's nothing to, you know, their richness is in other things, you know, and they're just as happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so yes, and then, you know, the life lesson of emotional risk leads to wisdom from the heart, you know, being able to be vulnerable and also risking being seen emotionally vulnerable, being able to express yourself is going to unlock the door for your life purpose to really blossom. So remember, you work on the part that is the least developed and it helps you take humongous steps up in your life purpose.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
And it could be just simple as just
So
journaling.
I have a question for
Yeah.
you. So in a year from now, I will have my real estate license and I will be actively doing real estate.
Mhm.
To what degree, I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure if I'm going to do general, if I'm going to do property management. I don't know, but I'll do something with it. That
Right.
because that's just my nature. Okay. I know myself well. I will do something with
Right.
it.
Oh yeah.
So do you think that my lifelines would change in a year's time, depending on what I do? Are they pretty set on
Anything is possible. I've seen gift markers appear and disappear like within 6 months. It's kind
No
of
way.
yeah. I've seen hands. I that's why I take my prints like every few months, because I start to see things that change.
Really?
Yeah, and then also the finger dominance change. Sometimes a person has a strong Jupiter finger, and another, 6 months down the road, they have a strong Mercury finger, so it's like, it does, think about this as your brain is mapped out on your hands.
Ah,
So
well, that's interesting. We'll do this in a year and see what happens.
Okay,
See
okay.
if anything changes.
sounds
So you would keep
good.
this so we
I'll
can
keep
compare
this.
them.
Yes, and I'll
Yeah.
stop the recording, and then any other questions? We got 1 minute.
No, that's
You're good?
you know.
And then
all right.
hopefully it recorded the beginning.